You're watching Rurouni K95's anime review on Twilight of the Cockroaches. Hi Ruronis, this is your pal Rurouni K95 here. Today's anime review, we get to cover another 80s anime movie, but this time an anime film with some anime and some live action hybrid particularly. For today's anime review is Twilight of the Cockroaches. Twilight of the Cockroaches is a 1987 anime slash live action film written and directed by Hiroaki Yoshida that combines live action footage with animation. So it's probably particularly how this anime movie was, which is probably up until Who Framed Roger Rabbit arrived in after particularly. Film particularly how the plot concerns a society of cockroaches who live peacefully in the apartment of a bachelor named Sato until a woman moves in and the humans begin to exterminate the cockroaches. So, without any further ado, let's review Twilight of the Cockroaches. Let's begin here. The movie focuses on a tribe of cockroaches called the Hoshino tribe who lives in an apartment owned by a human the roaches call Mr. Saito. Saito lives by himself and is seen to be very messy, making it ideal for the roaches. Saito knows about the roach infestation, but does not care to do anything about them. It means he can care less about it. And then roaches view Saito as a benefactor. They are led by the roach named Sage, who advises them on matters and states he negotiates with Saito on any issues. In the past, the Hosino tribe had a war against the humans, which ended when the human occupants left and Saito arrived. The Hosino roaches call this Armistice Day. Ichiro and Naomi are the two cockroaches in the tribe, in love and planning a wedding. One night, a roach from another off tribe called Hans arrived. Injured from a battle, Naomi falls in love with him after recuperating and informing the Hosino tribe of his war. Hans leaves to go back to his tribe. Naomi follows him in a secret. With Ichiro unaware, Naomi arrives at another apartment owned by a woman named Momoko. Momoko and Hans' militaristic tribe are at war with each other, with Hans' tribe launching attacks on Momoko to get food, and Momoko retaliating by killing the roaches with insecticides. Naomi and Hans are reunited, and several days pass with them staying together. Comes one evening, Saito and Momoko notice each other from across the apartment complex and start seeing each other. Though the Hosino roaches are unaware of her, during one visit, Naomi inadvertently returns to Saito's apartment, having in Momoko's purse. Ichiro and Naomi are reunited, with Naomi telling Ichiro she has amnesia and doesn't remember being gone, which is probably not in a good way. They proceeded with their wedding. By this time, the wedding is disrupted by Momoko, who attacks and kills many of them. Naomi and Ichiro escape. Their leader, Sage, says he will discuss this unprovoked attack with Saito. The next day, he is found dead, pinned to a dart on a dartboard. Momoko and Saito start exterminating the roaches. The Hosino roaches, having not encountered in this several generations, are taken by surprise, and many are killed, which is probably not in a good way. Meanwhile, Naomi reveals to Ichiro's grandfather that she is pregnant, but doesn't allow if the litter is Ichiro's or Hans, and believe it is to be later. It is also revealed on the Armistice Day is a lie, because the truth be told, probably. And Saito only tolerates the roaches because he became depressed after his wife and children left him. Eventually, Hans' tribe arrives to help. The Hosino tribe comes, and they set out to drive out the humans using their superior numbers. In response, Saito and Momoko resolve to killing all the roaches at once, setting off many bug bombs and spraying all around the apartment. That's particularly how expect what is going on in Twilight of the Cockroaches. The leader of the Hans tribe tells him to escape, and it is to believed that Hans is the savior of the tribe. As he escapes, Hans is killing by a falling book. Naomi and Ichiro are some of the few survivors on the onslaught. Naomi receives a vision of her grandmother telling Naomi she is immune to the insecticides and that she will pass this to her children. Naomi tells Ichiro to escape and meet her at a nearby shrine, actually a toy abandoned in the apartment yard complex, where they will start a new life away from the humans. As they escape, Naomi is seemingly killed with insecticides, and Ichiro is shot to death with an air-shot soft gun as he flies away. When Naomi is shown to survive, when her vision of being immune true, so the epilogue shows her with a huge litter of children, all seemingly immune to insecticides. Some of her children looks like Ichiro and Hans, meaning that both were fathers to a new breed of roaches, as you expect to notice, if you will. And that's probably my anime review on the plot, particularly about Twilight of the Cockroaches. Director Yoshida has stated that the film is about Japan and that concept of hated species is like the racial and cultural immunity with which Japan is perceived. In his New York Times review, Vincent Canby wrote the publicity material for Twilight of the Cockroaches, describes the film as an allegory about the fate in store for affluent Japan if it doesn't meet its international responsibilities. The film may read that in the way in Japan. In this country it looks somewhat darker and more muddled. The English dub of the film was produced by Streamline Pictures during the early to mid-90s. The film was shown frequently on Turner Broadcasting stations such as TBS, TNT, and Cartoon Network, often paired with other anime movies such as Vampire Hunter D and Robot Carnival. And as a result, for the credibility, it was one of the first exposures to anime for many American anime fans here, which is probably during the 90s as well. And the music was composed by Morgan Fisher, particularly. The film was originally released on VHS and Laserdisc by Lumivision in 1991, but the film was released to DVD and Blu-ray by Discotek Media now, which was released on February 26, 2019, particularly. Come to think of it, come to the whole connection. Humans in an apartment and cockroaches were being drawn in Japanese animation and all. This is how it particularly was, what you see in Twilight of the Cockroaches. And someone who at Warner Brothers might have got the inspirational, and somebody who worked at Warner Brothers Films might have known the film Twilight of the Cockroaches as well, which is have the connection to Joe's Apartment, which particularly Joe's Apartment is an American musical comedy film with Jerry O'Connell and Megan Ward. Because John Payson has the connection between his film Joe's Apartment and the anime film Twilight of the Cockroaches, which has a lot to have this connection, particularly, which Oldtaku realized that this is a connection of how it's very similar. Like, when Joe Payson originally created the short film in Joe's Apartment in 1992, which aired on MTV as a fill-in between commercial breaks, Payson said that he was inspired by the 1987 short film called Those Damn Cockroaches and the 1987 Japanese anime film Twilight of the Cockroaches, which is the latter crossing hand-drawn animation with live action. And, if anybody would have had this connection, it'll be almost run a playground oop as well. Come to think of it, this is someone who has seen them. You ever heard of the movie Joe's Apartment? This probably took inspiration cues from the anime film Twilight of the Cockroaches, particularly. And yes, and the cast on here and the Japanese voice actors on here, yeah, this did include who played Fritz is Toshio Furukawa, and yes, it is Toshio Furukawa, who is known for anime such as Urusei Yatsura, the Kabocha wine, Fist of the North Star, and he's also famously known for the voice as Portugas de Ace in One Piece, and he's also known for the voice as Piccolo in the Dragon Ball Z series. But there are some live action actors which are Kaoru Kobayashi and Setsuko Karasuma, which are the only two live action actors that are only appearing in the live action part. This is particularly how a combination with Japanese animation with some live action, particularly what you see in Twilight of the Cockroaches. I mean, it's almost becoming to the extent to many other live action animation with live action movies in general, particularly. I mean, Twilight of the Cockroaches is particularly how your typical anime movie, which has Japanese animation and some live action added for this particular anime movie, which is probably until Who Framed Roger Rabbit came a year later in 1988, particularly. And yes, for this anime movie, like Twilight of the Cockroaches, however, it's really, I really admit that this has your typical Japanese animation combining with live action on here. And yes, this was released in Japan in 1987. I mean, I noticed that this has the English dub by Streamline Pictures on here, but yeah, because until the license to and the production company was made by the animation on here was made by the company Madhouse, that is known for their work such as Ninja Scroll, One Punch Man, Urusei Yatsura, Movie 6, Always My Darling, and many other works on anime that are made by the company Madhouse. And it's also known for the production company made by Kitty Films, which is probably known for their work on anime, particularly such as Urusei Yatsura, Maison Ikoku, Sakura Diaries, and Ranma Half until Ranma Half was sold to Pony Canyon as well. Yeah, because which is probably your typical primary example of 80s anime. Twilight of the Cockroaches is your typical 80s anime film combining with Japanese animation with some live action, particularly, which is up until Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out in the U.S. in 1988, which is probably within a year after Twilight of the Cockroaches, particularly. And yes, and yeah, this anime movie was particularly, let's see, which anime, according to Anime News Network, this anime movie, Twilight of the Cockroaches, has the cast from the English dub from the Streamline Pictures dub on here, such as Michael McConaughey, and Steve Bullen and Barbara Goodson, that were known for many that appeared in many English dubs on certain anime titles that were dubbed by Streamline Pictures when it's gotten English dub, particularly when it comes to how discussing about Twilight of the Cockroaches. And the biggest thing is that this anime movie was directed by Hiroyuki Yashida, who went into work on other anime such as Arya the Animation, Arya the Origination, and Arya the Neutral. And he's also worked on Appleseed Ex Machina, and he also worked on One Off OVA as well as many of his works as well. And yes, because he has worked on many other anime as well. Yeah, this is your typical Japanese anime movie in the 80s with some live action hybrid in it. So that's going to be it for my anime review on Twilight of the Cockroaches for today's anime review. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts on this. When I first watched this, I admitted that they used some live action hybrid, which is probably until Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out in 1988 in the US, particularly. If you're looking for an 80s anime movie with some live action, give Twilight of the Cockroaches a watch. It's available on Blu-ray that is released by Discotek Media as well. Hope subscribe for content. My Anime Planet link in the description down below. You can share this video on your Twitter, Facebook if you have Twitter, Facebook account, and all social media. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking on the like button on this video. Feel free to leave in the comments in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, Rurouni K95. Feel free to join my channel, especially new to my channel. Hit the notifications bell button. Keep it Otaku for this anime review, and I got another anime review next. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I got another anime OVA that I haven't reviewed for tomorrow's anime review on Devadacy. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Devadacy, because you won't want to miss another anime review here.